What's up, everybody? Welcome into a new episode of the Rapala Collegiate Bass Podcast. We're getting ready to hit the road here in about a week for the first event of the season on the Bass Pro Shops Collegiate Bass Fishing Series for the 2025-2026 school year. That's going to be the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley, taking place at Kentucky Lake in Henry County in Paris, Tennessee. Special guests on today's show are Grant Meisenhelter, Drew Morgan, and Mark Bixlar, members of the Murray State University bass fishing team, located not too far there from the shores of Kentucky Lake. Grant, real quick, let's just jump straight into it, man. What's the conditions of the lake? I know that earlier in the year there was a significant bit of rain. What has that done maybe to the fishery as a whole? Just kind of set up the stage for, as people are traveling in, what's the lake look like at the moment in terms of clarity, water levels, and things of that nature?
I think it looks pretty normal for about this time of year. The water's pretty clean. I think the water's probably a little bit lower than what it normally is this time of year. The water temps are a little warmer than what we'd probably like them to be, but there'll still be some big ones caught.
Yeah, this event's always a lot of fun when we come in the fall. Murray State in particular, I believe, has had team members do really well, and for sure in my time here, I know I've witnessed one Murray State angler win the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley. So anglers are going to get out there and get them figured out. Drew, talk a little bit about your knowledge of the lake this time of year. We talk about it every year, but, the fall scatters fish all over the place. So, you can know a lot of different things, but it may not be that much of an advantage right now because you just need to go out there day by day and go fishing. So talk a little bit about the different cover across the lake from the main river to the backs of the creeks. When someone comes to Kentucky Lake, what kind of structure will they find, and where will these bass be setting up?
Yeah, this time of year, it's not really about what you know out there. It's more or less just covering water. That's pretty much the name of the game this time of year. So, with this big bass tournament, it's really anybody can just get lucky and, catch that winning fish. They're pulling the water down, every day till we hit that winter pool stage. So I would say, to do good in this tournament, it's just going to be really covering water, whether you choose to go throw a square bill on the bank or choose to throw your top water all day.
Let's talk a little bit more about baits on day 2 of tournament competition, this being the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley. Anglers are on day 2 of tournament competition are permitted to only use Berkley baits. Mark, from whether it be experience in the past or what you're game planning for this year, from top waters to hard baits to worms, kind of name off a couple specific baits from Berkley and styles that you're looking to throw on that day 2 of tournament competition. Maybe also you'll even have it tied on the first day.
Yeah, even definitely on the first day, something that just gets bit out here is the cane walker. Especially this time of year that we're in, and I can speak here personally. Recently, the cane walker has really been a go-to. It's getting a lot of bites, generating a lot of bites. So I think for those guys that are going to go out and spend a lot of time covering water up shallow, that and the Chapo are both going to play a big part in it. And then as far as getting out there a little bit deeper, because we still have fish set up deep at that time of year, we're kind of everywhere. I personally like the Dime 15. That can get down there in that 14 to 16 foot depth range, especially if you're throwing on a little bit lighter line. And maybe I throw in some of those show bars and stuff that some of those schools are still lingering around. I could see that really getting the school fired up and getting a big one to bite.
Kind of a 2-layer question here. We'll give one part to Mark and one to Drew, one to Grant and one to Drew, rather. Grant, for you, bait selection. So we just heard Mark talk about different styles from Berkley that he's going to have tied on. When you're picking out baits for a big bass tournament, is there any element to it in terms of strategy that you'll be playing in your mind of go big or go home, go finesse, get a lot of bites, and hope one big one bites? Kind of talk about bait selection, and is the goal that week is going to be to catch the biggest fish of the tournament, how that'll factor into what you tie on?
For me personally, I think I'm just going to stick to what I normally throw and just try and get as many bites as I can. I think the more fish you catch, the better chance you got at catching a big one, especially now.
talking more about strategy, Drew, hit on real quick when you're preparing for a big bass tournament like this. What's going through your mind in terms of maybe it's certain prizes that you want to win based upon a session, location and proximity or lack thereof to the weigh-in site on if you want to weigh in once and, go for broke way far away or stay close to be able to come in numerous times. And some of that may also pertain to points for the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia, which we'll talk about in a minute, but just kind of talk to strategy in terms of location and game plan on how often you may or may not return to weigh in throughout both days of competition.
Well, for this tournament, I'm kind of just going to cover as much water as I can and kind of go for the win. I could, probably stick around close and maybe catch a couple 4-pounders and maybe, get in the top 10 in a couple sessions. But for me, I want to try to catch a fish, in that 6, 7, 8-pound range to, win overall. So for me, I'll probably end up making a pretty long run away from Paris and, fishing most of the day up there. If I catch some good fish early, I might run back and fish around Paris the rest of the day. It kind of just depends how it goes. But really, we kind of just want to, catch a fish over 6 pounds, 7, just to win overall.
Mark, what strategy as well, you're fishing as individuals in this tournament, weighing in by yourselves, but also it affects the greater good of the team in terms of valuable points that are on the line. As we mentioned, we'll talk about more in depth here in just a moment, that Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Drew talking about trying to swing for the fences and go for the win. Is there anything that y'all strategize and talk about amongst the team in terms of what y'all want to accomplish going into this big bass tournament there at Kentucky Lake? In terms of like, hey, let's make sure we get on the board early, secure points, then we can go for the win? Or is it just go out, win, everybody do the best we can, and we'll see where the chips fall?
Yeah, so a little bit of both. We've got some guys that, have a lot of good history in certain areas of the lake. And so, we're definitely kind of counting on those guys to go run the stuff and get those bites, secure some points. But then also, like Drew was saying, you got to have somebody not playing it totally safe to be able to win. So, a little bit of both. We're not strategizing where every single boat's going to go, but also, we are looking forward to having some of those guys with good history in certain areas of lakes going, securing some points, getting some good bites. But then I also think, having the guys that are going to make the longer runs and really hone in on the win, I think is important too. So a little bit of both.
We're talking with Grant, Drew, and Mark, members of the Murray State University bass fishing team, breaking down and previewing the upcoming Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley. You heard their thoughts there on different baits and techniques and strategy for Kentucky Lake this time of year. Let's shift now to discussion about the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. This week we're rolling out the 5th Annual Association of Collegiate Anglers preseason poll. We've got feedback from coaches, industry members, anglers, ACA staff have voted to rank the teams entering this upcoming season, with the first true rankings reveal coming next week. The preseason poll here, Murray State was selected 15th. They finished last season ranked 15th. They're going to enter this season for the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia ranked 15th. Grant, hearing that right here, what does that mean maybe in terms of kind of consistency for the team, but also possibly motivation to do better and exceed those expectations placed upon you?
I think overall as a team, we'd like to move up in that top 10, even possibly that top 5. And I like our chances coming into this tournament on our home lake here. I think it's pretty important for us to get some valuable points to start the year off and hopefully move up that leaderboard.
Drew, yourself, I recognize your name. I know you've been around for a couple years. Kind of recap of last season for you guys. As we mentioned, Murray State finished 15th in the 2024-25 Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Kind of hit on maybe some high points, what you thought the team did well and maybe even could improve upon going into this year.
Last year we struggled. I've been at Murray State. This is my 5th year. I'm about to graduate. We've always kind of been up there in that top 5, top 10 ever since I've been here. Last year we kind of just struggled a little bit, messed up at a couple tournaments and didn't utilize our points to our fullest advantage on, fishing a couple school rans we probably shouldn't have. And, just messed up a little bit there. But this year, we all kind of got a game plan. We're all kind of on the same page. I'm expecting some better results this year.
Mark, kind of build upon the last half of Drew's answer there. What is it, whether it's been team meetings to start the school year, conversation amongst teammates hanging out and whatnot, what's the discussion and the vibe amongst the team in terms of, obviously there's a thirst and a hunger to want to improve upon what y'all have done in the past and do better this season. Kind of talk about maybe how y'all think that's going to happen or a mindset that's going to help you guys achieve the goals that you want to.
Yeah, so, the vibe of the team, just start there. Everybody is extremely excited to get this year going. With that being said, we really are, pushing hard to get some guys to get some big bites this year in the bass. That's going to, in the past, that's always played a big role in our points. And so we're trying to take as much advantage of that as possible. But then also, kind of like what Drew said, we started with our meetings and we're really taking a deeper dive this year and trying to be as smart and strategic as possible when choosing what tournaments we're going to go to and what, who we're going to send where to make sure that we are making the smartest decisions we can in terms of going out and getting points. So all those conversations are, they're taking place currently, and everybody on the team is super excited to get going. We've got some good freshmen this year, and so we're really looking forward to see what they can do for us. And so I think it's going to be a good year.
Grant, you guys, I believe you said it in your last response, and they've hit on it too. The goal is to get up inside that top 10 for this season. If we're talking next summer, season's concluded, June timeframe of 2026, and Murray State is indeed able to crack the top 10 and have a strong season, what would it mean to you to be able to be a part of the team, maybe even have contributed along the way, talking the intro to the season now to where y'all want to be at the end of the season? What would it mean to achieve y'all's goals over the next 12 months?
It just means a lot to everybody on the team. I know we all kind of have the same goals in mind. And I also think it would mean a lot for the future of this team. It's been kind of hard to get new people, new freshmen to come in and join. So I think if we can get our name up on that leaderboard a little more, I think our chances of getting freshmen and keeping building this team to be bigger and have more boats, I think that would help out a lot.
First chance to get your name up on that leaderboard for the ACA this year is going to be at the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley that we've talked about numerous times here throughout the show today. So the last two questions both pertain to that tournament. Drew, for you, as we kind of build upon this conversation about the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia, tied to next weekend when the scales close and everything's finalized at the end of that event on Sunday, what would you consider a success for Murray State in terms of where your all's two highest finishing bass place in the overall standings?
The goal would be to, obviously have at least two people in the top 10 overall. That's kind of what we've all talked about. We all kind of have a good game plan on, kind of what we're going to do. We have, quite a few kids on the team that are consistently catching, 3, 4, 5 pounders. So, they're planning on, weighing in more often. And then, we got those guys that are planning on making a pretty decent run, kind of putting it all out there to go for the win. But I would say for this weekend, you're definitely going to need a fish over 6, 7, 8 pounds maybe. In previous years, it's been right around that 7-pound mark. So you're going to have a big one to at least win, for sure.
All right, you're leading me right in my next question. Mark, here, winning weight prediction for the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley next weekend. We heard Drew say 6, 7, 8 pounds, and that's kind of what we've seen it take to win. I don't know that we've seen one over 8 recently. 6 and 7 pounds has kind of been that magic sweet spot with numerous fish in that range, so you got to be on the higher end of the 6s or 7s to be able to secure the victory. What do you think the winning bass will be next weekend?
It's really hard to say. We haven't seen 8 in a minute come out of this lake, but they're definitely in there. Last year with the 7-11 getting weighed in, that proves that 1 over 8 can be caught. I definitely think it's going to be over 7 pounds. And I will not be surprised if the winning fish weighs more than 8.
All right, you heard it right there. We got a prediction that it may take over 8 pounds to win the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley. Get over to our website, collegiatebasschampionship.com. Registration set to close Sunday. Other details and information, angler packet and stuff can be found there on our website as well. Guys, thanks again for joining us here. We'll see you soon there at Kentucky Lake in Henry County and Paris, Tennessee, and best of luck.
Thanks, sir.
Welcome to Minnow King. How can I help you?
Everything looks good. I'm friggin' starving, man. Been spawning all morning.
Ugh, TMI, bro. What do you want?
I'll take a Crush City freeloader and gizzard shad.
Anything to drink.
Water.
Pull ahead, please. Welcome to Minnow King.
We're gonna have what he's had. Yeah, throw me in a net BLT too.
Pull ahead, please.
Calm down. Quit feeding him so much.
Hey, man, I'm trying to, man. If you
If you overfeed him, he's gonna hide under a log.